Liverpool rocked by shock twists on and off the pitch. Don't miss a second. Subscribe now for instant Reds updates, exclusives, and breaking alerts.
13 stars at risk of missing World Cup 2026, including Neymar, Alexander Isak, and Bryan Mbeumo. 2026 World Cup is just a few months away. And while the biggest stage will bring about the biggest stars, not all of them will be representing their nations in North America this summer. The World Cup is where many of the greatest players in history have cemented their legacies. But for every Leo Messi at Qatar 2022, there is a George Weah, Ryan Giggs, or Eric Cantona, players who never appeared on the biggest stage during their glittering careers. With many domestic seasons in full tilt, there will be players cruelly axed from the biggest ever World Cup in North America due to injuries and lack of form, and the playoffs in March provide further jeopardy for more high-profile stars who could potentially miss out on the 48-team tournament. Here's a look at some of the biggest stars who risk missing out on the tournament or have already missed their chance to book tickets for the World Cup. Neymar. Brazil. Neymar has been lauded as one of the best players of his generation, and for good reason. The forward could light up a game with the sort of trickery that has become well associated with the top stars coming out of Brazil. However, now at 34 years of age, there is growing uncertainty over his place in the national team, ahead of what could be his final World Cup. Neymar has been struggling with injury issues over the past few seasons, and while a return to Santos came with the hope of rebounding, it hasn't quite had that effect yet. Carlo Ancelotti has made it clear that he won't be carrying players through the tournament. However, as the barrage of questions over the star's possible inclusion in the squad continue, it means Neymar has an uphill battle to be among those on the plane to the World Cup this summer. Just 12 years on from making his bow in his home tournament, Alexander Isak, Sweden are facing a battle to book their place at the World Cup. After a disappointing qualification campaign that ended in turmoil, the side finished bottom of their group with just 2 points to their name, as Switzerland, Kosovo, and Slovenia all finished above them. With Graham Potter in interim charge, Sweden have a lifeline for the World Cup thanks to the UEFA Nations League, which has put them in the mix for qualification. They take on Ukraine in March internationals for a place in the final of their bracket, which will be a crucial match. Alexander Isak faces a race to get back fit and firing in time after picking up a serious leg injury. Meanwhile, other high-profile teammates, such as Arsenal's Viktor Gyökeres and injured Tottenham forward Dejan Kulusevski, also face the possibility of not going to the World Cup unless their form changes dramatically. Bryan Mbeumo, Cameroon missed out on qualifying for the World Cup after a surprise exit from QAF qualifiers. The African nation have featured at 6 World Cups, with a quarter-final appearance in 1990. That means stars such as Bryan Mbeumo and Carlos Baleba won't be featuring at the tournament. Despite their impressive campaigns so far this season for Manchester United and Brighton, Gianluigi Donnarumma, would be inconceivable to suggest that a nation with the history of Italy would miss another World Cup, and yet, that is a distinct possibility. The Azzurri haven't played in the tournament since 2014, missing the 2018 and 2022 editions through the qualification stages. Here they are again, looking at the need to get through a playoff round to get through to the tournament. For the first time in 12 years, Manchester City star Gianluigi Donnarumma, who signed from PSG for £25 million last summer, gives them a chance. But the pressure that comes with needing to win the upcoming matches will test even their most notable stars. Robert Lewandowski. But Lewandowski is a modern-day great, having shown his quality on both the club and international stage. The striker has often faced a battle to drag Poland through some tough moments, but they have managed to qualify for the past 2 tournaments, appearing in 2018 and 22 at 37. This is more than likely the final chance for Lewandowski to show his quality at the World Cup, but he risks missing out altogether. Poland will need to get past Albania in their first playoff game, before having the possibility of a one-off knockout match to book a place at the finals. Dominik Szoboszlai, Hungary Liverpool star Dominik Szoboszlai, has made himself a household name in England ever since making his move to the Premier League. Despite his moments of individual brilliance, he won't be making an appearance with Hungary at the World Cup this summer, following a tough qualification group. A 3-2 defeat at the hands of Ireland in the final kick of their final match ensured they won't be able to qualify and will have to try again for 2030. Szoboszlai admitted the experience was very tough, with the Liverpool ace left thinking what could have been for the upcoming tournament. Kvaratskhelia, Georgia Kvaratskhelia and his Georgia side excited plenty of fans during the European Championships in 2024. But there will be no repeat of that this summer. The national team failed to book their place at the World Cup this summer. After finishing third in their group. It was a tough ask for the PSG star and his compatriots, who had Spain and Turkey in their group, along with Bulgaria, as they picked up just 3 points. With no route through the playoffs available, Georgia will have to put their World Cup dreams aside for another tournament. Trent Alexander-Arnold, England have struggled to get the best out of Trent Alexander-Arnold so far, while finding a space to fit him in the team on a regular basis. The right back was deployed in midfield at times by Gareth Southgate, who often preferred other fullbacks during his tenure as the head coach. While Thomas Tuchel is now in charge, the Real Madrid star has only received one call-up to his squad so far, coming in June 2025, with a mixture of injury issues and form concerns. There is a real chance that the 27-year-old misses out on the squad altogether for the summer. Brennan Johnson, Wales are once again reliant on the qualification playoff route. If they are to compete at the 2026 World Cup, they took it close, picking up an impressive 15 points from 8 group games, but finished 2 points shy of the eventual winners. Belgium. The task ahead for the home nation is a clash with Bosnia and Herzegovina, before a possible tie that will be a one-off final for a place in the tournament. Premier League stars such as Brennan Johnson, Harry Wilson, and Ethan Ampadu will be keen to fire Wales to their second consecutive World Cup. With those playoff games taking place in March, Johnson may be the nation's main hope of qualifying, having made the move from Tottenham to Crystal Palace for £35 million in the January transfer window. With an opportunity for more minutes and a return to form, he could take that momentum into the March internationals with Wales at an important time. Mikel Merino, Spain. Mikel Merino has been a mainstay for the Spain national team, having shown quality in the midfield and a finishing touch in the opposition box. That has translated over to his form for Arsenal, where he has played as an auxiliary striker at times, alongside his usual role as a midfielder. While there is some hope that he will feature at the World Cup, there are doubts over his availability. Merino has picked up an injury, with a fractured bone in his foot, causing some discomfort, which will require a procedure to ensure that he can return to action as quickly as possible. Despite those hopes, some reports in Spain have claimed that Merino could miss the rest of the season and will be facing a race against time to get fit and available for the World Cup. Conor Bradley, Northern Ireland, earned themselves a chance at booking a place in the World Cup this summer by finishing as one of the best third-placed teams in the UEFA qualification stages. They managed to pick up 9 points in 6 games in a group that included Germany, Slovakia, and Luxembourg. Their reward for that achievement: a clash with Italy in the first round of the qualification playoffs. It'll be a tough test, but one that can be done, as the Azzurri have shown through their recent downfalls in these playoff rounds. That challenge is made tougher. However, through the absence of Conor Bradley, the defender picked up a serious knee injury that will see him out of action until next season at the earliest, with the Liverpool star only able to watch on and hope that his national team can pull off a miracle. Kenan Yildiz, Turkey have been viewed as potential dark horses in recent competitions, but they haven't quite been able to turn that into results. There is a chance to do so at the World Cup, but they will also need to get through the qualification playoffs. To give themselves an opportunity to do so, they take on Romania first up, with hope that they can lean on some of their best talent to step up and do the business. Kenan Yildiz is certainly one of those for his national team, with the youngster proving his quality for Juventus, while attracting attention from clubs across Europe. Translating that onto the national stage would be the next step on his way to stardom. But he risks missing a World Cup if he cannot. Rasmus Højlund, Denmark suffered heartbreak late on in their qualification clash with Scotland, which saw them lose their grasp on a place at the World Cup. An almighty collapse in their final two games resulted in the unlikely drop into the playoffs, where they will now face North Macedonia. Some familiar faces are in the Denmark camp, such as Rasmus Højlund, Christian Eriksen, and Pierre-Emile Højbjerg. Arne Slot admits no guarantees over Liverpool's future as he responds to sack pressure. Liverpool have endured a disappointing second season under Arne Slot, and the Dutchman has now confirmed what could potentially end up deciding his future at Anfield. Arne Slot believes that there are no guarantees that he will keep his job at Liverpool beyond this season if the club fails to qualify for the Champions League. The Dutchman enjoyed a dream debut campaign at Anfield, leading the Reds to the Premier League title at his first attempt. But they have failed to hit those heights this season, with Liverpool sitting 6th and already 17 points behind leaders Arsenal, following the weekend defeat to Manchester City. Slot's side now face a battle to secure a spot in the Champions League. Asked if a failure to qualify for the competition could be pivotal for his prospects of keeping his job, Slot replied, "That is a difficult question for me to answer because I don't decide on my future. The only thing I do know is that it happened before and recently, and it didn't affect the future of that manager. But that doesn't guarantee anything, of course. In general, managers, especially at this club, maybe somewhere else, it is not only about results. Mainly, but not only. At some clubs they also look at the progress the players make, the progress the team makes. The circumstances are sometimes taken into account. Asterisk that is not at all clubs. But I think I am working at a club that does look at those things, as it has shown in the past when the club did not qualify for the Champions League. Liverpool will be aiming to get their push for a top 4 spot back on track in midweek, as they travel to Sunderland. Speaking ahead of that game, Wayne Rooney has suggested that Slot could be on the way out of Anfield should they fail. He said, "So yeah, I think it just brings a little bit more pressure on Arne Slot, I'd imagine. Now they've got to battle on to try and make a Champions League place. So yeah, I think there'll be pressure coming on Arne Slot. Asterisk I don't think they'll change anything now. But in the summer, it'll be really interesting. Arne Slot's job might depend on if he finishes in the Champions League places." Slot's current deal with Liverpool is expected to run until the end of the 2026-27 season, having penned a 3-year contract following his arrival from Feyenoord. Liverpool last failed to qualify for the Champions League during the 2020-23 season, when they finished 5th in the table under former boss Jurgen Klopp. Asterisk Gary Neville issues Liverpool prediction and gives clear instruction to Arne Slot. Gary Neville has made his feelings clear on how Liverpool will finish the season, and explained what Arne Slot must do to galvanise the dressing room. Gary Neville has tipped Liverpool to secure Champions League football, but insists Arne Slot needs to rally his players following their setback. The Anfield club's top 4 ambitions were handed a blow after they were beaten 2-1 by Manchester City on Sunday in the Premier League, despite Dominic Szoboszlai's stunning free-kick putting them ahead. Late strikes from Erling Haaland and Bernardo Silva handed Slot's side a defeat. In the Premier League clash, The result left Liverpool languishing in 6th spot in the table heading into a busy midweek schedule, with a trip to the Stadium of Light to face Sunderland on Wednesday next on the agenda. Depending on Tuesday's results, the Reds could slip further adrift in the race for Champions League qualification, but they'll be eager to bounce back with 3 points against the Black Cats. Neville outlined what Liverpool need to do to turn their fortunes around, beginning with victory at Sunderland this week. The former Manchester United defender also backed the reigning Premier League champions to clinch a top 4 spot by the end of the campaign. Asterisk that Man City defeat will be a tough take for Slot and his players, Neville said on his podcast for Sky Sports. However, if they can somehow compartmentalize it to a bit of a freak game, which it was, they will still be fine. If they can put it in a box and not let it infect and hair points to his head. It is whether they are strong enough right now mentally to be able to cope with games every 3 days when challenging fixtures don't go their way. They are 5 points behind the top 4 or 5. It's not a big gap. There is a long way to go, and they will have to play most of the teams above them. So they have loads of opportunities. Asterisk. But there is a question mark over Liverpool. There is a question mark over whether they will finish in the Champions League places. But I still think they will. Neville added, they have got a lot of experience with Alisson, Alexis Mac Allister, Virgil van Dijk, Mohamed Salah, Ryan Gravenberch. They have players who know what to do. So can they hold it together and keep on going? If you want to show that you're not going to be impacted by today, go and win at Sunderland, which will be a tough place to go. Go and win there emphatically and be professional. That's where everyone needs to look now for Liverpool. It will be tough in there. The dressing room will be really low.